I'm David Drummond. With me today, I have Miss Gabrielle Farris for the Gabby party. Then I have Mr. Michael Quispe for the better party. And the reporters I have with me today is Mr. Ben DeRocha.
Yeah.
Then I also have Miss Ashton Barding from Fox News and Ben DeRocha from CNN. Today the reporters will cross-examine the candidates for the presidential election of 2016. Cool. Take it away.
Mr. Quispe, for foreign policy, why bother keeping the troops in the Middle East? Like, what's the point of that?
Well, it's easy. We would like to keep the troops in the Middle East because we need to contain and we need to take control of the terrorism being grown and being brought up in countries like Iraq, Syria. Simply, we just need to make sure that nothing like 9/11 will happen ever again.
Yeah, but why do you think there's terrorism growing in there just because it's those countries?
Because of the radicals in the Muslim religion.
Okay, how do you plan to fight ISIS and the other terrorists?
Well, you see, I think we need to put troops in those countries where ISIS is at, and you need to attack them at the source to just get rid of them altogether. Because if they're not there, how can they attack us? That was my answer.
So for Homeland Security, how will you equip like the military for threats if you don't know what the threats would be? Like, what would you do to prepare for that?
Well, we just need to make sure that our military has the proper equipment that any military branch should have. They need to be technologically advanced and up to date. They need to be supplied with weapons and like that to make sure that our borders are safe.
So why won't you let U.S. have aerial surveillance, like in case of worse crimes?
Well, it's not that we won't let the U.S. have aerial surveillance, it's we won't let anyone from any other countries have surveillance over our country in order to protect our homeland.
Okay. What type of gun laws do you plan to pass to limit the Second Amendment?
Okay. Well, the gun laws I would be passing wouldn't be taking away Second Amendment rights, but we would have stricter tests to make sure people who own guns have good mental health, because all the shootings that happen today in America, lots of them, people who own those guns aren't mentally healthy, and if you aren't mentally stable enough to handle a gun, you should not have it.
Next question.
Michael, what is your point in gun control? What is your views?
Well, my views in gun control, well, one of my views is basically the same as hers. You need to have the mental ability to use and handle a gun and abide by the gun laws. We say that 18 years of age, you're allowed to purchase weapons for hunting and sport. You could purchase rifles, and we say 21 is the age for handguns, because at the age of 21, the brain should be fully matured, which means that you can properly handle situations with a handgun instead of like how other people handle them, like school shootings and stuff like that. And you need background checks. Background checks.
Is the brain technically biologically mature at age 25?
Well, yes, but at age 21, they let you drink. So if you are able to have the knowledge and maturity to know when and not to drink, then you should have the maturity to know when to use a gun and when not to.
How do you stand on the issue of legalizing marijuana?
Well, I think that once you graduate high school, if you want to smoke marijuana, that's your business. And I shouldn't take that away from you. But, only if you're doing it in a safe manner that doesn't bring harm to other people. That's right. Yes, correct.
Whose decision do you think that should be, the state's or the national government's?
The state, it should be a state right.
So when it comes to healthcare, why would you assist someone in committing suicide if we're trying to get people to live longer?
Well, we would assist someone in suicide only with their consent, and if they're suffering from diseases and injuries that are causing them pain, which they cannot take, if it's becoming too much of a burden on them, and they're not going to live much longer unless they're on life support, why make it harder on them if they would like to, just get it over with? Which I think is their choice, and it is their Fourth Amendment, the right to privacy. So.
Why do you believe we should go to a more socialist, universal healthcare system?
Well, I don't. I believe that our healthcare welfare system, we shouldn't be handing out those things. We shouldn't be handing out welfare. We need to make healthcare more affordable for everyone, because if someone who can't afford to have all these fancy tests done at hospitals, if someone can't afford a procedure that they're going to die without, that's not fair than someone who can't afford that procedure because they have money. So, there we go.
So if you're giving less to the unemployed, how are you going to help them get jobs?
Well, we're not necessarily giving less to the unemployed. We're giving the same amount of benefits and the same amount of money as long as they abide by the laws and are productive members of society. If they're not searching for jobs and staying at home, being lazy, just collecting everything, basically sucking the blood from America, then of course we take away the benefits.
Yeah, but if they are unemployed, what if they don't have, transportation to be able to go look for jobs?
Well, that's where their welfare and their benefits would come in. We would provide them with money, like basic need money, in order to help them get from their jobs to jobs and stuff like that.
Okay, how do you plan to deal with illegal immigrants?
Well, not all illegal immigrants are, there's a lot of them that are becoming productive citizens, or they're becoming productive members of society. And I think they should be allowed to stay, because if they're working in the job force and in the workforce and they're being productive, why should we send them back to a country where they can't have jobs and they'll just live in poverty? But the ones that aren't doing anything, and the illegal immigrants that are bringing drugs into our country, we should just kick them out, because we don't need any more of that here.
Okay, so you say that you want faith-based charities to end child poverty. How exactly is that going to work?
Well, faith-based charities would help, not necessarily just all coming from the faith-based charities, but it would still help reach out to religions, and there's a lot of religion in America, and I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people that would be willing to donate that would benefit the poverty for children.
How do you plan to deal with the high unemployment rate and encourage job growth?
I plan to deal with that by creating more programs to help create more jobs and create more jobs that people who are currently looking for jobs, they can have those jobs and become unemployed and get back on their feet.
Well, Quispe 2015.